What if Hydrapple was in Gen 1 OU? One of my favorite Pokemon from Gen 9. I just wish I can see what it looked like on Showdown. I'm not sure how they haven't taken care of that yet. That's besides the point, because a few people have asked me how this would do in Gen 1, and I was always curious, especially since it's one of my favorite Pokemon in this new gen, but I was always not enthusiastic. That's only because it's literally a grass and dragon type. It has a quadruple weakness to ice moves and blizzard, and there's a lot of those in Gen 1, so I didn't want to see one of my favorite Pokemon get slaughtered. However, with Generation Jumble Season 3, you have added Alolan Executor. It's not great, it's not even that good, but it has shown me the potential of a grass dragon type in Gen 1. Because yes, you do have a really bad weakness to blizzard, or just ice moves in general. However, in return, you have a quadruple weakness to grass, water, and electric. Quadruple weaknesses, I don't think you have a lot of those in Gen 1, now that I think about it. I think the only one I can think of is ice. I get ice resistance from like Lapras or Cloyster. But it's really good. And not to mention all three of those types are seen in OU and are pretty common. Electric flat out is just one of the best offensive types. In water, you see occasionally, like it's always going to be on Slowbro with Surf, and you're always going to have, like let's say, the occasional Starmie with Surf, or maybe something else that like the opponent might use randomly. And then grass is the least common, but you see Venusaur occasionally, and Victory Bell is technically OU. And for some Pokemon such as Jolteon, Slowbro, or Victory Bell, they only have moves that Hydrapple quadruple resist, which can allow you to seriously take advantage. Because the stats for Hydrapple are really good for Gen 1 standards. And it has one move that can help it stand up against those ice moves, and that's Growth. Growth technically did exist in Gen 1, but you never see it because the only real grass move is Razor Leaf, which is an auto crit. So anything that has Growth, such as Victory Bell or Venusaur, there's not much use for it. I'm pretty sure you see it more in the lower tiers with like Tangela and Underuse. That's besides the point. It's a move that like, it'll be hard to get that pull off because literally every single thing with ice moves is faster than you, including Chansey. Because while 44 speed isn't the worst, you're faster than Rhydon, Snorlax, and Slowbro. Being faster than Chansey is so damning because it almost always has Ice Beam. But it doesn't really matter too much because obviously Hydrapple is most likely going to be used as one of those late game cleaners when the team is paralyzed. And once that happens, you're taking care of the speed issue. And if you keep like boosting up those specials, ice moves will hurt even with 2 or 3 growths. But it'll be enough to where you can try to take it on. To take on anything really. Because you have your signature move in Fickle Beam. Now you might see I have Serene Grace on here. That's because I tried testing to see if Fickle Beam even worked in Gen 1. Because I'm pretty sure it works in Gen 2. But at least from what I saw in these videos, Fickle Beam, it doesn't work. Which I think really sucks. Because if Fickle Beam had the 30% chance to do double damage, that would change everything, really. But it doesn't look like that's the case. So instead, it is a 80 base power dragon move. Nothing in it to resist that, which is good. But it only has 8 power points, which is terrible. And I tried looking for other special moves it has. For Gen 1, the only one it would have I think is Hydro Pump here. Because I couldn't see anything else with these list of moves that existed in Gen 1. Which is a huge problem. Also some other moves you can see. Body Slam, Substitute, Hyper Beam. With 80 attack, physical moves are pretty usable. And with Substitute, like, you do have a pretty tanky Substitute with 106 speed. But given how many things have ice moves, probably not worth it. Although I guess for some Pokemon such as Slowbro, it could be really unbeatable. But the only other physical move I think is really worth it is Earthquake. Not only is it more damage than Body Slam, which you might need against like a paralyzed Chansey if you don't think going for growth is worth it, it's probably not. But Earthquake gives you super effective coverage against Gengar, and with 80 attack, Earthquake is enough to 2 a KO. So I think Earthquake is just objectively the best move. Even if Hydro Pump is a special move you can take advantage with growth, I just don't feel comfortable using 2 8 power point moves, especially when one of them has a big chance to miss. Not to mention, what are you hitting with Hydro Pump super effectively? You're only really hitting Rhydon exactly, and since Rhydon's slower than you and doesn't have a way to really hurt you, I feel like you would rather take advantage of Rhydon by outspeeding it and going for growths. So overall, I think this is the best moves that you can have for it. And Rocky Recover is really good. It's like literally the best recovery in the game. And with you boosting up your special and healing off that can help you. And with a really good 110 defense, you can actually recover off Zapdos' Drill Packs. Granted, Zapdos will probably paralyze you, and it has crits which are very scary. But still, it's with Thunder Wave probably not, but you could potentially stall out the Drill Packs, or at the very least, if it's paralyzed, Zapdos I mean, you could have the potential to beat it 1v1. It's very dangerous, and most of the time it's not in your favor, but the fact that you have a chance at all is really interesting. So for quad weak the ice dragons that have covered in the series, such as like Salamence or non-dragons like Landorus, Hydrapple seems like it's doing better than you would expect, which I think is really cool. Let's get on to the replays, shall we? Starting off with the boy himself, we got Tauros. Wizard hits hard, really hard, and you have no chance of really hitting double with Fickle Beam, which sucks a lot. So you're probably not going to win this anyways. But at least for like this first replay, or at least for like this first Pokemon Tauros, I was curious to see how it does if it actually gets some growths off. So I decided to test it with Tauros here. And with 2 growths, I believe it's only a 2 KO. I say only, actually no, just a 3 KO. That's actually pretty good. So, if you manage to get the growths off, you do become significantly better. And something I do think it's worth reminding you is that with these replays, I am doing them as just a 1v1, where both Pokemon are completely healthy and are not status. But keep in mind, that's just not how you play the game usually. You don't just have your 2 like heavy hitters fighting each other at the beginning of the game healthy. In execution, things will be paralyzed, things won't be at full HP, which is very worth considering when we're talking about Hydrapple here, especially since it will be used as a late game cleaner. Also teammates, that's another huge factor. You don't have to really recover a Zapdos Drill Peck at all, because Rhydon will be a great partner to Hydrapple, and you have plenty of ice resistances such as Cloyster or Starmie, which would love to help Hydrapple handle those ice types. So it's just remember that for these videos and these 1v1 matchups. Here's Snorlax, and not only can Hydrapple handle physical Snorlax very easily because of your high HP and defense, but I've actually never seen the animation before. But holy crap, that looks awesome. Yeah, I love Hydrapple so much. But yeah, even Hyper Beam only does 45% to Hydrapple, so it does a really good job against Snorlax. Amnesialax, it does even better if it's only Thunderbolt. When are you going to see only Thunderbolt? You're probably not. With 1 growth, I guess Ice Beam's technically a 3 KO, but with Amnesia, you're just screwed. You're not beating Amnesialax, ever. Moving on. And with moving on, we have Chansey. And since Chansey's faster than you with Ice Beam, you don't have the option of getting up growths. And with how much Ice Beam we did there, I'm not sure a single growth would even help you that much. And even 2 would be kind of cutting it. So it's just a pretty unwinnable matchup. I'm not even sure what would have been better between building up growths in front of Chansey or going for Earthquake. Now Zam. I had a few replays with Zam, but I decided to only keep one of them. This is a matchup that's just really unfortunate for you. Because with growths, you technically could recover off the damage in theory. But with both high crit rates, special drops, and paralysis, Hydrapple just can't set up on Alakazam. It's just statistically not in your favor. Because any growths you have are going to be like taken, like will probably have a special drop. When Zam paralyzes you, you're probably going to lose some turns. And with how hard Zam hits you, you can't really afford to be missing any turns. And this is the problem with growth versus amnesia. With amnesia boosting double, it allows you to, you can survive if you get one special drop. For Hydrapple here, one special drop puts it back to square one, which you can't really afford because Psychic already hits pretty hard. So just a bad matchup, unfortunately. Which is a shame, because I would have loved to see how much Fickle actually did to Alakazam. Same thing for Cloyster technically, but I do not have any hopes for actually fighting Cloyster. Blizzard's just a guaranteed OHKO, as you can probably expect. Next off, we have Executor. And Executor is one of the Pokemon you have a better matchup against. Psychic still hits pretty hard, but without Zam's, like terrifying crit rate, Hydrapple can handle it a lot better. Not to mention Double Edge does practically nothing to Hydrapple. So Hydrapple is a lot more comfortable here going for growth and setting up those, or going for recovers. And with Pokemon like Alakazam, Hydrapple does significantly better once it's already set up. Not to mention Explosion, Hydrapple can tank that-ish with 58%. So, yeah, not that bad. I expected worse. And that's just kind of how I view Hydrapple in general. Although as you can see, it's definitely suffering. Like I said before, I think Earthquake is your best coverage move, which 2 KOs Gengar. But even without it, Nightshade, Thunderbolt, and Psychic all aren't really doing that much to you. You can get a special drop off Psychic, but Hydrapple can handle it with you not having Stab. It can always go for Growth or Recover to, deal with the damage. It's just a great matchup all around. But even better matchup is Jolteon. Look at how much Thunderbolt is resisted even before a growth. For something like Jolteon, Hydrapple can be sent in. It can always get a free growth. And even one free growth can help you do something against some of the ice types or Chansey. And especially against Pokemon like Alakazam. So, this is where Hydrapple could shine. It's a very, don't get me wrong, it's definitely a very difficult Pokemon to use. But I do think Hydrapple is a Pokemon that you can make work if skilled enough. Or if given the right opportunity. And I don't think Hydrapple is a big enough threat to where Jolteon doesn't seem as much play. And especially not enough to where you consider using Pin Missile. Because even with crits, as you see there, it's not really doing that much. So next off, we have Jynx, and yeah, this is just bad. I misclicked and went for Recover, but I do not think that matters in the slightest. I think we can all safely say Jynx absolutely destroys Hydrapple. Rhydon is not the case, however. You're faster, and I guess you don't really want to have Leers used on you. But to be honest, I think you'd rather take that than, not be able to set up. And Rhydon probably doesn't stay in anyways, if I'm being completely honest here. So you'll probably get one free growth in, and if you take an Ice type out, you're probably better off switching anyways. But if it's paralyzed, I don't know. I haven't done the damage calcs, but let's say with a paralyzed Cloyster with a single growth. I don't know, I can see you handling that. But that is pretty risky, I will admit. Now this is going to be interesting. Here we have Slowbro. And I thought this was going to be just a very easy match for Hydrapple. because you quad resist Surf, so there's not much you can really do there. I'm just gonna put this on Hyper Fast actually, because here's the problem that I figured out very quickly. With Max Special, Fickle Beam is not really doing that much, and like I said before, Fickle Beam only has 8 power points. And even the Hydro Pump wouldn't be doing much better since it's resisted by Slowbro. So this became just a really bad matchup. However, even with these two like stalling each other, and I will give you a spoiler alert, Hydrapple uses all of its power points for Fickle Beam and Earthquake, and Slowbro uses all of its power points for Surf. So it is really bad. And I did put this a could go either way. And I guess technically it should be could go either way. However, here's my thought process. I'm not playing optimally with Hydrapple here. But you know what I think in actuality? You have a lot of power points on growth. You have 61, which is crazy. And you already quad resist Surf. So I think in actuality, you don't need to waste your Fickle Beams. You don't need to waste your Earthquakes. Hydrapple is just perfectly capable of just sitting there and wasting Slowbro's power points. So, I think, well, on paper, both of these end up crippled and not doing anything. Slowbro is almost always used as your win con for Gen 1 teams. Slowbro cannot afford to sit here and waste all of its Surfs. And it can try wasting other moves, but those other moves can always, like once those power points are done, then Hydrapple gonna sit there and eat the Surfs. And with 61 power points on growth, and let's not forget, Slowbro probably has to paralyze Hydrapple. You're gonna get turns where Hydrapple is not moving. Not to mention, like, it'll probably use Recover. Like, look at here, like, with just growth alone can stall out all the power points for, like, pretty much everything for, like, Thunder Wave and Amnesia, whatever one, like, probably Amnesia. Not to mention a good amount of Thunder Wave power points. And with Paralysis luck, and funny enough, against Slowbro, you kind of want to not move. Yeah, Hydrapple can probably stall its Slowbro to where it has to use Rest or Surf. So, this replay I don't think is very accurate. And to be honest, in actuality, Slowbro just switches out. But it looks like it could go either way. Because for this replay, Hydrapple also had its resources exhausted. But I do think if you're using Hydrapple correctly, you can just stall out the Slowbro way better than Slowbro can stall out you. And I was not actually going to make a replay of myself quicking growth 61 times. So Exastrate, don't even bother commenting. I'm not doing that. That sounds very unfun. And you guys already get the point already. Or at least I hope you do. I was considering making a replay with Starmie without Blizzard. When do you even see Starmie without Blizzard? You never do. So just call this like unwinnable and move on. Now, the next two are going to be Zapdos replays, because I decided to skip Victory Bell entirely for obvious reasons. Now, like I said, you can actually recover off the Roll Peck damage, which really surprised me. And for this replay, Hydrapple was actually getting pretty lucky when it came to crits. So, I was just like, wow, like, can Hydrapple actually win this? Because I only bothered giving the Zapdos Drill Peck. I didn't bother giving anything else. And since Drill Peck and Recover have the same amount of power points, I was thinking to myself, can Hydrapple actually just straight up stall it out? And it was getting close to that. So that's when I figured that, okay, I guess I need to make another replay, because you kind of need to go for Thunder Wave, it looks like. Otherwise, Hydrapple could theoretically stall at Zapdos. Not guaranteed, because Zapdos has a great crit rate. But at the same time, Hydrapple does have a few opportunities to actually fight back if it really wanted to. And if Zapdos is also paralyzed, which is very likely, even with Agility, Zapdos could lose some turns. And Hydrapple could benefit just as much as Zapdos can if there's no free turns. So, and if it's even with agility, you get rid of the speed reduction. However, you are still like susceptible to just not moving entirely. So, like, I guess this should be a bad matchup, but as you saw there, Hydrapple got pretty damn close to winning. And we have one with Thunder Wave, but also keep in mind, like I've been saying over and over again, you're not putting these Pokemon out against each other at full HP. So, if Hydrapple already has a growth up when Zapdos is out, especially if it's unparalyzed, Hydrapple once again does significantly better. And Hydrapple can survive a crit and recover off the damage. That alone is just really impressive. So, my gut tells me this should be a bad matchup, but given this the context of how this is probably going to work in Gen 1, and given the fact that Zapdos will probably have to use a good amount of power points going for Drill Peck, I'm calling this a could go either way. Disagree with me if you want, but I feel like Hydrapple deserves the more generous tier list, which you have here. Like Slowbro put in great matchups, which you can argue for could go either way. Is Zapdos you can argue for bad matchups? But I think we can deserve to be generous for Hydrapple here, given just how much it does struggle from ice moves. Because like with how bad it's suffering from the ones in unwinnable, and the ones in bad matchups, I would not expect it to be able to hold its own this much. And if it's a Snorlax with no ice moves whatsoever, Snorlax itself could be moved to great matchups. So, I think this is a pretty good tier list, and I think we're actually Rhydon should also be in great matchups, now that I think about it. Because what does Rhydon even do? Nothing really. So yeah, I'm just impressed. I think Hydrapple did better than I thought. Although even with there being more things in great matchups, I feel like, I don't know, I'm not entirely sure if Hydrapple would be in OU or not. I think it would be great in underused, maybe even banned. Some of you might think that's not possible because there's a lot of water types with Blizzard. I would kindly request you to actually learn about Gen 1 underuse. And I feel like Hydrapple would be too good for the tier, honestly. It's either borderline or it's good in OU, but you need to be very careful with it. At the very least, I would say Hydrapple is better than Victory Bell and probably Slowbro as well. Especially since Hydrapple itself is a huge hindrance to Slowbro's viability. As well as Jolteon and Gengar, now that I think about it. Or not so much Gengar, but like Rhydon and Jolteon really don't appreciate Hydrapple's existence. So like, while Hydrapple just needs to retreat for these 4 right here, the 5 up here minus Gengar, I guess, Hydrapple's existence just makes it a little bit worse. So, maybe I'm being generous here, but I think Hydrapple would stay in OU. But what do you think? Do you think it would suffer too much from the Blizzard weakness? Or do you think skilled players would be good enough to keep it in OU? Let me know in the comments below. But until next time, this is Groundback, and I look forward to hearing from you.